All right, we're live. Session 2. Corin, take the recap away. Take away with the recap, whatever.
Our party arrived at the broken gates of the keep, and we were greeted by the residents. Bazrag, the captain of the guard, introduces us to the other guard, Willow, and the caretakers of the blissful mistress come out to greet us, a dwarven couple named Micah and Helga Skainson. Mert, the trader, was with them, and lastly, the squirrely Castellan Wodek. The keep is worn down and could barely be called livable. Bazrag and Wodek assure us that there is a space available for us all, and the builders are expected to arrive in a few days' time along with the rest of our supplies. And so we stow our items away and split up to explore the remnants of the castle. Arden and Remy make a point of clearing the stairwell so we have access to all of the floors of the keep, and Arden can have his bird eye view of the compound. Willow attempted to help them, but Remy was having none of it, and after exchange of pleasantries, Willow departed, nursing a split lip and a growing respect for the little one. Rose and Byron roamed the grounds to examine the structures. The watchtowers and walls and battlements are all but destroyed and need repair, but the most urgent issue was the portcullis and gate. Neither quite managed to function properly, but with Byron's help, Rose is able to repair the chain powering the portcullis enough to serve our needs until a replacement can be manufactured. And left to her own devices, Ellashan wanders the ruins of the keep, poking her nose into every corner and room that is accessible, and she finds the remains of the kitchen, a master bedroom, and a study that the Castellan had been using, as well as a small room that didn't appear in use. Nothing but rotten stone and a bed frame. She finds a small brooch of a silver eagle with blue gemstones glinting in the corner. And let's see. Byron returns and asks Wodek if the keep has a basement, and eager to escape Remy, who had been terrifying and harassing Wodek, offers to give Byron a tour. Rose and Remy accompany them both, as Remy does not want to let Wodek out of his sight, and there's not much of interest down there other than the space, though Remy finds the remains of a catapult made of ironwood, and he finds an ancient and grimy book that he immediately gives to Byron, and the Ivy Scholar makes his way back to the keep and takes over Wodek's rooms to investigate the tome. And let's see. Arden finishes his patrols of the ground and pacing heads over to Mert the trader and makes some inquiries about his work, and he gives the trader a bit of money and asks to see if there's any young orphans in town that we could recruit as stable hands or shepherd boys and the like. Byron's examination of his tome suggests that it might be I'm not going to say this right, Encterion of Psychometabolism by Scivilius Serventicus, the first wizard.
Goddamn you, Rob.
Encterion of Psychometabolism by Silvicus Serventicidus, I think it is off the top of my head. I don't know.
I should have practiced it, but I didn't. Supposedly, this tome is one of several books, and this one is fabled to be the only copy. Byron is skeptical of its authenticity, but there is a riddle written on the cover that can only be opened if he answers it correctly. And then at dinner, Remy uses the time where everyone is out of the keep to investigate Wodek's room and finds an ornate sword hidden under the Castellan's bed. The next morning, the last resident of the keep returns as Amon the hunter, and he has found a crystal shard at the side of the road during his rounds, and he shows it to us, and it appears to be vibrating. He thinks it might be the work of goblins and offers to take us to the path where he found it. And on the way there, we were stalked by a small creature, and that turned out to be a small blue kobold that was searching for the lady in white. The lady in white happened to be our cleric Rose, and he said that the big man, Lathander, had told him to seek her out and that she would be his teacher. And we ask him if he knows where the goblins are, and so he leads us further down the path into the cavern. a little off the path, and we can hear the humming of keystones growing louder as we enter. Arden leads the way, and he sees a floating ball of blue flame that darts down a passageway. Kreen says that it is a ghost that makes people say bad things, and Byron theorizes that it sounds like an entity with the ability to possess others. And we decide to investigate down the passageway that the flames did not go. And there were 4 goblins, 2 asleep, 2 awake. And with being prepared for them, we were able to dispatch them quickly. The goblins were not alone in the room. Off to the side, there was a large cage door that led down a long passage, ending in a pit where a sleeping bear was residing. Arden is determined to try and tame the beast, and he opens the door to investigate. And as he approaches, a previously unseen ogre drags itself out of the pit at the sound of the opening door. The whirling blue flame entity returns and, dashing about us, flings itself into the ogre. The creature changes, its skin turning into a crackling black and blue, and vines surrounding it from Arden's magic crumble to dust. As it stalks toward us, it speaks in a booming voice, "Well, well, human meat, the chaos will be fed intelligent souls." And Arden and Remy attempt to shoot the twisted creature, but she's seemingly no effect. Something about the sight triggers something in Byron's memory, and he shouts into the air, hoping that the invisible Ellashan can hear him. Crystalia's vent calm the creature, and her invisibility drops as she begins casting calm emotions on the chaos-possessed ogre. The others see her eyes go black before she and the ogre both collapse on the ground. The blue flames lead the ogre and dart away before they can stop it. To Ellashan, the world had gone black, and first there was a vast nothingness, but then she sees the ground form beneath her, and she stands in the same place as before, but the world is dark, and winds from unseen sources swirl around her. She sees the ogre back in its original form, writhing in pain in front of her, and she senses another presence behind her and turns to see a creature taller than what should be possible, wreathed in black fire, a skeletal face with burning blue lights behind empty sockets smiling down at her, and the large hands reach for her and says, "Back again." It claps its hands, but before it can crush her, she awakes. The others are clustered around her, and Byron's voice is the first thing she hears, and with a calm, "Oh, I had forgotten about the side effects."
Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for this evening. So that was Session 2. Can you believe that was all off the top of her head as well? Or not.
Yeah, sure it was.
All right, perfect.
Did the ogre get unpossessed? I thought we were in for a fight.
No, the blue and black orb flew into the ogre. Its skin went all black and blue.
No, but I mean after that.
After that, after that it dropped. After she cast Cam Emotions on it, it just fell. You don't know if it's dead, but it's lying on its back.
And the blue flame flew away.
It flew away, yeah. Okay, let's get into it. So, Ellashan, everything hurts. The echo of the laughter of the thing inside your head dies away slowly as you come to. You hear the voices of your friends sounding concerned above you. You open your eyes and remember that you're in the dark caverns under the valley. You're lying on the cold stone floor, and above you, you can only see pitch darkness. You feel your friends standing over you, hear and smell the burning of their torches, and you even smell their breath. But you see nothing. There's only blackness, haunting images of the creature you just saw dancing in front of your eyes in the murkiness. You're freezing cold, your teeth are chattering, your spine is on fire, as though 1,000 ants are biting you. Everyone else, you see Ellashan wake up. She's been unconscious for a couple of minutes, and as soon as she cast the spell, she collapsed, writhing and screaming. The ogre died immediately, collapsing onto his back, but Ellashan continued to scream. Now confused, she opens her eyes, and you see now that they are pupilless and swirling with black fog. Ellashan, as far as you can tell, you're blind.
Remy checks his bag to make sure that his moonshine isn't missing, because he's seen this happen before, but only when someone drinks too much moonshine.
Your moonshine is fully stocked.
I don't know what the hell happened to her.
Well, the book didn't say anything about that. It said there would be something.
That was a hell of a spell. Seems like a one-time cast, though. with the blindness and screaming.
Byron's probably like waving his hand above her eyes, trying to see if anything tracks. But I'm
Yeah,
sure
you
it
can
doesn't.
sort of feel.
Arden will elbow him.
Yeah, you could probably like feel, a hand moving in front of your face, but it is like blackness.
Like, kind of like reach out for where I like feel the movement, and like cold ice-like hands probably brush against his, and just side effects. What do you mean? Did you know that would happen? That thing would be there?
Well, as it was described in the book, you would meet a similar orb to the one that we witnessed here on this plane. Though the person got away without any extreme side effects, you seem to exhibit a particularly chronic case.
So there were side effects listed.
A little warning would have been nice, maybe.
I mean, I was somewhat distracted by the seemingly invulnerable troll or ogre ready to destroy us all. Sometimes it takes a while to explain all of the intricacies of something, but
don't use magic seems pretty fast.
You really know your way into a woman's heart, don't you, Hux?
The side effects were nothing compared to this. Certainly no lasting effects.
Well, can you fix her?
How about we help her up first?
And just while you guys are helping her up, Ellashan, can you roll me a d20, please?
Yes. 7.
You're fine. Yeah, so what would you guys like to do?
I'm going to check on the bear.
Yeah, you go over.
Make sure there's no more ogres in there.
Yeah, there's no more ogres in there. I assumed you probably checked that first. But no, the bear is just a corpse. Like you roll over and the underside is like all open, and it's just ribs. It's been there for ages. It stinks, rotting meat.
I'm really sad now. That poor bear.
The ogre is also dead.
The book, it just mentions that he woke up after speaking with the same orb that we did. That we saw. It was the creature that thrashed and writhed.
I saw it there where I was. It was there, but there was something else there too. But that could have been really dangerous. It could have followed me back. That's what happened to Elia Dome. That she went to the Etheria plane, and the chaos followed her back. You don't know that
Wait. Where were you, and what did you see? I don't understand what happened.
I was here, but it was wrong and dark, and there was this thing, and like stories tall, and it was.
I didn't see it.
It like reached for me, and it seemed to recognize me. Maybe it said back again, but whenever Ellashan says back again, she doesn't say it in common. It's this twisted words of chaos and makes like your skin crawl probably. And
it's
I kind of get what you mean then.
On my d20.
Yeah.
Arden would know what she said. The others would have just heard her.
The thing is, with speaking chaos, like when you hear someone say chaos, like normally if you've heard of it or anything, it's like in Harry Potter, if someone says Voldemort, everyone goes, is that sort of thing where it's just this taboo that no one does unless
I'll do the superstitious thing and then do the spit on the ground.
Yeah.
And kind of like wrinkles his nose, like disgusting to the palate.
Yeah, exactly. Arden, while you're down there, a break from the sadness finds you in the ogre's lair, where there's a huge leather bag. And as per the rules, inside this leather bag are 7 sacks with various loot and items in them. And so I'll just list those off to you in the chat. But in essence, a load of money, some food, and some brandy. I'll write that into the chat. Sorry, just a quick reprieve there.
We got booze, guys.
That's not booze.
Hey, it's classy booze.
Classy. When does that have anything to do with booze?
Hey, we're landowners now. We've got to have a more refined palate.
You try a little bit of the hoochmonger moonshine, I guarantee you won't give a damn about that stuff.
So, Ellashan, you remain blind.
Bros, can you help this poor girl out?
Do I get a sense that there's anything that I can do?
Yeah. Why don't you roll me a religion check?
Alrighty.
Can I assist?
Yes.
I am proficient.
You may assist.
Okay. Because I'll be there kind of tending. I was going to suggest similar. The book said nothing of this blindness. Perhaps her previous exposure?
13 on a religion check.
Yeah, it looks like you've seen stuff like this before, and it's always been a curse that's happened. You don't know if this is necessarily a curse, but effects like this usually are a curse.
Okay.
But apart from that, there's not much to tell. It just looks like some kind of dark forces obscuring her sight.
I'm gonna go ahead and pull my staff out from the efficient quiver and just give it to her as a like a walking staff thing, like just to basically so she can keep it ahead of her and not trip over stuff.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna try lesser restoration.
Yeah. Does that make you have to roll, or does it just happen?
I think it just happens.
Yeah, it just
I think
happens.
it just happens. All right. Ellashan, your sight is restored. Sort of. You can see,
Right.
but in your peripherals, it's just like this kind of swirling black and blue light, and every now and then you think like there's a shadow like jumping at you, but it's nothing. So like you can see, but it's almost like you're wearing, like really dark sunglasses inside.
I feel like the first thing she's going to see when she opens her eyes is Remy absentmindedly just picking his wedgie out of his butt crack.
Yeah.
Which sight is more fearsome?
Well, there's going to be something haunting her sleep tonight. The world will never know what it might be.
Listen, sister, fighting is hard work, all right? Sometimes things get caught, and I have a very ample bottom, all right, for a halfling. Just don't fault me for that.
I would never. But
Well, never mind about the staff then, since they fixed it.
Cool.
It's better, but there's still shadows.
Can you see a direction that the shadows are going?
Everywhere?
Yeah, they're just sort of like, it's as if there's loads of people like just standing around like this sort of weird swirling darkness.
Well, either you drank something foul or you are possessed. So if you were possessed, maybe we can follow your shadow vision someplace or use it as a clue for something. I don't know. I'm not very good at this.
Does it appear as though the shadows are going someplace, or is
Wherever
it just
you
kind of
wherever
there?
you look, the shadows.
Mm.
So, what would you guys like to do? You're
Uh,
sort of, I
I'm
imagine
gonna
you're kind of
suggest
in
that
the
we.
corridor.
I'm gonna suggest that we burn the body. Evil things like this have a way of infecting the land.
I would agree
Always
with
down
that
for a good
decision.
barbecue.
This meat might not be too good to eat,
Yeah.
considering.
Only one way to find out.
Well, if you wish to, volunteer, I could always write a study up on the effects of chaos-tainted meat on halflings.
You guys keep throwing this word chaos around. I'm not sure I get it. How do you taint something with chaos?
There are perversive, evil magic in the world and forces that wield them, and I think that blue orb we saw is something similar, if not the same. I mean, I know very little of it, beyond the recountings that obviously aren't entirely correct. I shall have to order more of I should have to wait for more of Chryselius's volumes to arrive to get a wider picture of it. But this blue orb, I believe to be some agent of chaos.
It goes around spoiling ogre meat. I follow. Well, why don't we follow it and kill it? I mean, it flew that way, right?
I reckon that would be harder than you think it would, or indeed I do. We're unprepared.
How flammable is that moonshine?
Oh, it's really flammable.
Can I borrow a bit?
Yeah, we use it to burn the warts off of mules. There you go.
All right, I'm gonna take a little. I'm gonna pour it over the ogre's body, and then use a torch to light it.
Sure. The vapors would have probably knocked out a lesser man, but you're quite tough, so you realize like, oh Jesus, that
God
shit
for that
is
con save.
strong. But yeah, it goes up like as if you're pouring petrol. You feel like, Arden, you feel sort of your pockets in your bag, and your little spider. It's not there.
Son of a bitch! What? I'm gonna look around for it.
Yeah, make me a investigation check.
Can I do perception instead? I didn't. I ran out of skills.
No.
Damn it. That's wisdom based, right?
Intelligence for investigation.
Intelligence.
Ah, that sucks. Oh crap. That's a way to start off.
Sounds like a natural 20.
Yeah.
A natural 1 with a -1 for the modifier.
All right. You
Boom.
do not see it, believe it or not.
You lose track of your own feet. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Definitely. Okay, so what would you guys like to do? You're standing sort of around these two rooms. Some of you in the corridor, some of you in the first room, some of you in the ogre room. You saw the blue orb disappear down the corridor next to or opposite to the one you came in from. Would you like to follow it? Would you like to leave? Would you like to stay forever?
Well, I'm kind of worried about it getting another host if we leave it alone.
I mean, I'm not comfortable leaving this place with that thing floating around. I mean, it's basically in our backyard. We can't feel safe living in that shithole to keep. Not with a blue ogre spoiling chaos ball.
Do we still hear the keystones? Sorry.
Still vibrating.
I think we're waiting on you, Dan.
Okay, I thought Corin might follow up on a keystone question, so I would agree. I would be worried if it took another host. Though if we stay, we might well become hosts to it. It didn't seem to have any trouble taking host of a living body. And I mean, there's only one solution that I know so far to defeat it once it's in a host, and obviously that host did not survive such an encounter. And our, resident solution barely survived it as well, it seems. Or at least not with effects.
I don't think that I could do that again today.
Is
Well,
is it undead?
You asking me?
I was asking Dan.
I'm guessing not, Rob. I presume from all of the study it is not undead.
You may presume as such.
Okay. As far as I know, no, it is not. But it is a relatively unobserved and unstudied force that obviously presents in different manners. I cannot say if there are any other solutions. That was the only one I knew, and it obviously endangered us significantly. If we are to follow, we may not have another solution, is all I'm saying. Although I do agree it should eventually be destroyed, I don't have an answer to how to do that.
can we seal this cave? Can we collapse it?
I don't see why not. I'm not sure if that would stop it.
Well, we don't seem sure of anything, though.
True. True. I kneel to one knee and turn to Kreen.
Yeah, you turn to Kreen. Kreen's not there.
Oh, okay. Well, then I probably don't kneel down.
In
I had
fact-
been keeping an eye on him.
Okay. Sure. Then you saw Kreen. Yeah. Okay. I won't make you wrong. Because you did say that last session. I did forget about that. You saw Kreen. Sort of like as everything went down, he scampered off. Down before the orb went down there, but the same corridor the orb went down. Maybe like 5-10 minutes ago.
Okay, I don't say anything.
Okay.
But he went before the orb. So
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Just being clear that he wasn't following it.
From what I saw, that thing has an intelligence. I don't know if barricading or caving in the passageway will be enough to stop it.
I was going to ask the kobold the same thing. If he'd seen it before, maybe something so crude would not stop it. No. You said it knew you?
It
Seems bizarre.
seemed to recognize me. It said back again, but I don't know why. I've
You've never been here before, right?
No, and I've never gone to any place like that before.
Can I insight check Ellashan?
Yeah.
Natural one.
She's still probably like shaking and chattering.
The height you're at, you're only staring at her knees, and you don't get much.
What are you trying to tell me, knees?
I'll probably just pat her on the back and say, likely just some trick of the beast.
I hope so.
All right, what would you guys like to do?
What time of the day is it right now? Like, how long would it take us to get back?
So you left in the morning, so it's about maybe sort of our equivalent of 1-2-ish. Sort of, it took you all morning to get here.
And how late in the year is it?
I believe it's sort of autumn time.
If it took us this long to get here, how many of us actually see in the dark? Because I don't.
Not me.
No. So only the... Oh, no. Half elf and dwarf. I mean, we can use light.
Maybe we should be getting back, simply because I don't really want to be out here in the dark with this thing.
We can always regroup when we have a means of killing it. We know where it is for now.
Why do
Yeah,
you think it's
definitely
going to stay
research it.
here?
I mean, it might not. It might not. But maybe we'll find it later. But I don't feel that your sword arm will do much against it. And I'm afraid
No.
your sword arm will do quite a lot against us.
That'd be a sight. Well, why don't we...
I suppose Kreen seemed to recognize it, and perhaps he knew these cave systems, so perhaps this is where it resides for now. Just maybe it will stay, she says rather unconvincingly.
Perhaps we should at least make a cursory attempt to locate Kreen.
he went that way, Rose.
Okay. Oh. Was anyone going to follow?
Well, that's also where the thing went.
Yeah, I'll go with you, obviously.
Just
Just
perhaps, just perhaps, not too far. Just far enough to see if we can't locate him. And I'll kind of like start that way as stealthily as I can.
Sure.
Clunk,
Make,
clunk.
make me a stealth check. And anyone who's going with her, do the same.
I think it's best if we stay together.
Yes.
I
9.
think we're all going together.
Oh, hey, that's a natural 20.
Doesn't really matter, though, does it?
It's already been a 4.
Not when I roll a 3.
And a 4. And a 9.
Ellashan might
Oh,
not be on the
Jesus
menu
Christ.
again.
So Rose, Remy, and Arden all turn around to go at the same time and just fall over together in a like a tumbling of armor.
One person trips, the other person grabs their cape, the other person gets tumbled into.
Exactly.
Luckily, that might mask Byron's 10 that he rolled.
Yeah, you just about fall into it. But no, you sort of you'll fall over, and then you sort of hear this sort of like heavy breathing, grunting sound coming from the passage, and Kreen sort of limps in. He doesn't look too bad, but for a second he looks like a red kobold instead of a blue one. But then you realize that he is just coated head to toe in blood. He's clutching his sword.
That's unsettling.
And his arms are sort of limp, and he's like dragging the point of the sword along the floor. But you see he's got something clutched in his other hand. And he's saying, like, he just wipes here, and it just wipes more blood all over him. He just
Looks like you had some fun, shitheel.
He just nods. He can't. But he keeps limping towards Rose, who I imagine sort of standing up and dusting herself off. He sort of falls to his knees in front of you, drops his sword, and just lifts up his hands to you, and says, Kreen has found from the big man, and just holds it up. And it's a golden necklace with a big ass ruby gem in the center, and it's sort of very slightly glowing in the dark, almost like it's glow in the dark, not emitting like light, but sort of almost like a shimmer in the sort of light of your torches and the fire in the brazier over in the corner.
Thank you. Where did you find it?
And he can't like figure out the words, so he just points backwards.
He's like the dog in the Fallout franchise who brings you like little shit that was buried around.
Pretty much. And actually, as he sort of points down the door, you see that it's not really a door, but more of like a hole in the wall, sort of like this just weird cracked hole.
Are you injured?
Kreen is untouchable. And he's like sitting back on his heels, just catching his breath.
I'll give him what little moonshine I have left over.
Sure.
Green, you didn't happen to see an orb fly past you, did you?
And he like sits back forward and says, "Batman."
Pardon, sorry.
He says, "The Batman, that way."
I find it curious that you've seen this orb several times now in close proximity and you haven't been affected by it. Do you know why it overlooks you?
Only takes the strong ones.
Interesting. We learn more and more.
No
And
accounting
I
for
note it
taste.
down.
Yeah, so he is just sort of catching his breath, but will eventually sort of stand up and be ready to continue. Sort of trying to wipe the blood off him, but sort of somewhat failing. But yeah, he's all right.
He said the bad man was down the way he came?
Yeah.
And was he referring to the blue flame?
He said what he said.
Crane, did you see a ball of blue fire fly through the sky that way?
The bad man. He just nods.
Yeah. You know the bad man's name?
He looks at you as if you've just asked a really, really stupid question.
Well,
The bad man doesn't have a name.
well, that's news to me.
How do you know it's a man?
He then looks at you as if you've asked a stupid question. And then he sort of looks at you, sort of takes a little bit of a step back and says, "You know why."
I think I do.
What's he talking about? Oh, your little romp on the other side.
Yes. It seems that Crean. Yes. She trails off.
Well, now that we have our friend back, might I suggest a strategic advancement to the rear?
I mean, if that's truly our plan.
Well, I'm not sure about you guys, but I have no idea what kills flaming blue orbs, but it kind of tore through my magic like it was wax paper. So I've got to say I'm not too confident about anything I can do.
Hey, Crane, you remember my name, right?
Shit. No.
My
Okay,
name.
we don't
fuck
step in the
with me.
back.
Fuck.
No, fuck with me.
Don't
Don't
fuck
step
with
in the
me.
back.
And don't stab me in the back. And when don't fuck me in, don't stab me in the back.
I remember.
You listen.
Don't fuck any stabber back. That's your name.
Right. Now I'm speaking, so you listen. There seems to be a great deal that you know about the bad man and about this place that you don't talk about. Now, I don't know if it's because you lack the intellectual depth to formulate coherent sentences or because you're a liar, but I don't like it. So, why don't you tell us everything you can? Whose blood are you covered in? What is this thing? Can it be killed? Why do you know your way around?
He's nodding. So he says, he puts his hands up and he says, "Green, Cobalt,
Yeah.
lives on other side of the caves. This
So this is your home.
No, this is Goblin home. My home. That way.
Okay.
Here is where Batman is.
Hmm.
He, and he sort of like puts his hands up to his head as if he's trying to like, he takes people. He's sort of struggling with the common a bit.
Where did he come from?
He sort of thinks for a second, and then says, "The door," and he sort of like moves his hands in the sort of arch shape.
Yeah, I get door. Where's the door?
And he points back down the way he went.
Are there other kobolds in your village? Or in your caves?
Yes, and he spits, and it's like a little smoking ball of, well, I guess it's lightning, so maybe
we don't like
spark.
them.
No, they are red. Green is blue.
They're racist.
They sent green away because green is blue.
Oh no, that's really racist.
Hells yeah.
Other kobolds, you said?
He nods. Green can show you the bad man, but he looks really nervous at saying this. But he looks up at Rose, sort of like a steeling himself, and says, Green can show you bad man.
We should try to identify this door at least.
Okay. Lead the way, little friend.
And he instantly goes into stealth mode, bends down and starts padding forwards towards the crack in the wall, the door. You guys following?
Yes, I'll follow.
If you'd like to go stealth, I will let you make separate stealth checks so you can have another try.
Byron just says to Ellashan, as everyone else is walking off very, very keenly, it seems, I really hope that orb has gone to the other side of the door, although I do worry how we are going to close it. I can only imagine the effects of a doorway open to whatever chaos realm you visited are having on this world, and the energy that might be dispelled if we are less than elegant in our solutions.
18 for stealth.
Yes, that shard that Amon brought back to us was already vibrating with whatever forces this doorway possesses. We'd have to be very careful to dismantle it safely, I think, if a shard like that can retain its power, even miles away.
We don't have to do anything. All we have to do is get eyes and then leave. We can see what we're dealing with. Maybe we'll get some clues.
Byron's curious if the shard vibrates or tugs against them the closer they get to this door, and if the gateway is somewhat incomplete and perhaps unstable because it is missing a piece or more than one.
I would say it definitely seems to be vibrating slightly more intensely. It's not tugging, but it seems more animated than it was.
I get an 18 for stealth as well.
Cool.
13 for stealth.
Same.
Natural 1. Bam.
All right. Well, I'll say that
We're
because
only as stealthy as the worst member in the group.
I'll sort of take the average. So, for now, I'll say you've all succeeded. I mean, these guys are all shit-faced at the moment, so you're pretty much fine. So you move on through, and the first thing you see is that it's sort of this long corridor, but the architecture is completely different. It's quite ornate, and sort of has these gold inlaid swirling patterns. History checks to anyone who wants to make them to try and identify it, though Byron has advantage.
Yes, please, and thank you. That's a 16.
18. Thank you, advantage. First roll was terrible.
Yeah,
Are we
both of
using
you.
Arcana for this?
No, this would be history.
Oh, then I can't do anything.
Cool. Well, both of you would recognize this is a Mikral ruin. This is the ancient dwarves that used to live here. And sort of looking back, you see that maybe someone's kind of bashed through and created new rooms from the old dwarven settlement.
The architecture, it matches the shard.
I was going to say the same.
We stand amongst the stones of the ancient Makral Empire. Dwarven in make. Stood for eons. Though obviously has fallen for perhaps quite as long.
I wonder what happened to them all.
We might be about to find out.
So as you enter this room, into this corridor, you see that there's a room off to the left, and Green, who's sort of walking up ahead, turns and sort of points and says, "The necklace was in there."
We see he was reticent about explaining being covered in blood. Do we see any signs of that blood on these corridors or the room he points to?
You see there is a trail of like footprints and dripping blood coming from out of the room he just pointed at and going down into the room you've just come from.
And is it identifiably like goblin blood or?
It's red. I don't know if goblin blood's meant to be a different color, but
I don't know. It's your world. That's why I was asking.
I don't know. No, it's red.
Okay.
I feel like goblins are often seen bleeding green.
I just wondered if it was like a darker red and there was different hues and that they had been analysed and such and recorded. What exactly did you kill again, Green?
And he looks excited and beckons you and scampers into the room.
That was in a hushed whisper, I guess, because I'm relatively stealth, but I will follow cautiously.
Yeah.
Behind the excited couple.
You find a bloodbath. There are 3 or 4 goblins in here. Each one has been just brutally hacked to death. There's alcohol like everywhere. There's a keg that was knocked off of a table and is smashed on the ground. And you just see like these goblins have just been decapitated, disemboweled, just cut up into pieces. One of them especially has been basically split kind of down the middle.
You did all this, Green?
He just nods and looks really proud of himself.
That's pretty good work. Pretty good.
He beams.
Don't get too proud of yourself.
Certainly enthusiastic.
Quite proficient with that weapon.
The big man told me to come here, so I came. And I found, and he like just points at the necklace for the lady in white.
It is a lovely necklace, and I'll put it on.
Yeah, so you just feel sort of light warmth coming from it. Maybe settles your stomach a bit. It's got quite a sort of calming effect on you. But yeah, apart from that, there's nothing of interest in this room. There was just a table and a few sort of piles of rags and such that the goblins were sleeping on, and several disgustingly brutalized bodies.
Is this where the orb went?
He shakes his head.
We'll point the way. That's the way to the door too, yeah?
And yeah, he runs out and like sort of goes back into his stealth mode and starts sneaking back up the passage, not really waiting for you.
Is there anything else in this room besides what he found, like, dead bodies and where he found the necklace? Where was the necklace? What was it in?
Okay, yeah, I'll let you ask him that. So he said the necklace is in one of the piles of rags that the goblins were using as beds. But apart from that, there's nothing. Like, it's literally an empty square room with a table and some piles of rags. I mean, you could search the piles of rags if you want, but there's nothing in them.
Well, when you say it like that, we'll just save the time and not.
I don't know. I might want to spend the next 20 minutes exploring the rags.
Turns out one of them has a secret passage with a hidden mega dungeon under it.
Someone get a 10-foot pole so we can poke it 1,000 times just to be sure.
All right. So the next room that he comes to, he sort of stops by the door, peers around, and then pulls his head back and sort of looks off, kind of shiftily, and just puts his finger up to his lips.
The door that way.
And he says, "Sledge toe."
One more time.
Sledge toe.
Sledge toe. My.
I think my aunt had that once.
Well, that sounds like somebody I want to meet. Can I peek around the corner in stealth mode?
Yep. You see, let me get this up here, sorry. This room is actually quite nice. It's got quite a bit of good furniture in it, but it's all goblin-sized, sort of been crafted out of bits of bone and wood and stuff. There's a low bench next to a bed. There's actually a massive tapestry on one of the walls, and a sort of few like trinkets that look similar to the architecture, the sort of dwarven motif. Standing, leaning against one of the walls, is a goblin that is sort of just thicker and bigger and taller than all the other ones. He's got a massive, for a goblin, curved sword, and has this big metal casing around one of his feet. There's also 3 other goblins in here, who are all just sort of moping about, drinking, and I'm just sort of not really doing anything.
I'll give Arden like the hand sign, like come on up and support me.
I'll take up a position, whatever I think basically best to shoot from, but still have cover.
Cool. Yeah, you're able to do that easily. That's mundane, so I won't make you roll for it.
I'll draw my crossbow and wait.
Observing Sledge Toe, is he also inebriated?
He's not got a drink in his hand.
Right, and he's not swaying or anything.
There's no little bubbles above his head.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a large goblin. It would be just really quickly at some distance from the door. I'm just gonna like hushed conversation with Kreen. You speak common. Have you ever known goblins to do the same?
He just nods. Yeah.
Right.
Hux, you know this about me. I don't deal with goblins. I kill them.
I feel they might know something about the orb.
Well, then we pull it out of them. We keep one alive, and I'll pull his toenails out for you.
I would rather have answers than toenails, but one alive would do. Thank you. And Byron like takes
kind of a deal breaker for me.
You can keep his toenails if you want. I'll keep the answers.
Fair enough.
What are you guys gonna do?
I'm waiting for the signal.
Anybody else want to take an action or something before I shoot somebody in the face?
Would you like me to see if we can perhaps draw some of them this way? I can do an illusion
Ghost
of some sort. No, minor illusion. I could make the sound of, something.
Kobolds. Make the sound of a bunch of kobolds invading.
Well,
Couldn't you
that would bring all of them, Arden, instead of just a few.
And I mean, Arden, we got a kobold right here if you want to mate with it. I mean, don't let us stop you.
Green kind of tightens his grip and steps a little bit behind Rose.
I think it's a good idea, El.
Is there like another passage in this room that we can see?
Yeah, there's a door exactly opposite the door that you're looking at.
Then I would like to try and do like minor illusion of like something like clattering and falling over behind that door, or in the direction of that door. Try and see if I can,
Okay.
get a few of the goblins to wander off, or kind of split their party, if I could.
Yeah, sure. Let me just see here. Oh, off the table. And again, Jesus fuck. Yeah, okay. I'll say the one leaning up against the back, he sort of looks over. What was that? But he says it in Goblin, so I don't know if you guys would know that. But he sort of
Is it
points
related
one
to
of the other
chaos?
two run off. No, he says that in Goblin, not Chaos.
I'm sorry, did you say that some of them ran off?
Yeah, one of them goes round to check.
So now it's big +2 instead of big +3.
So is that further down? Were we all lined up in a corridor outside of this room, and you made a noise in another room across the way? So one of them crossed the corridor we're all just really quietly standing in?
No, so
No.
imagine the room is sort of a rectangle, and you guys are at this end.
Right.
And there's a room opposite, and so he sort of went like that. So he had his back to you when he was walking away. But if he turned, he would have seen you all.
Okay.
But he didn't turn.
I guess I'll
Is he now out of view of his fellows down that other corridor?
Yeah, he's just walking, like, sort of looking, not saying much, obviously.
I'm gonna let loose on one of the ones that remain then.
Big one
I'll
or
say
small?
Not the big one. I'll take the little guy. I figure the big one's gonna have the most information.
Sure.
I'll try to drop the one he's firing at after he fires at it, if we're both holding an action.
Cool. All right.
Sorry, I gotta get my modifier real quick. 20 non-natural.
That hits.
9 points of damage.
All right, you kill one of them.
I'll target one adjacent.
Sure.
So, say, it's 18 total.
That's a hit.
10 points of damage.
You kill another one. There's two, and they both just like look around, see where the arrows come from, and Sledgetoe starts going for this horn at his side. But I'll let anyone else who wants to act before he does so.
If I can, I'll shoot the.
I'll
shoot the horn.
I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say, I have a crossbow. I can try and shoot the horn out of his hand, maybe?
Has he got it in his hand yet? Or
Yeah, he's holding it, but it's still attached to his belt, and he's kind of bringing it up. Need someone to act, otherwise he's going to blow it.
Okay, yeah. I'll
Cast silence.
try and shoot it with
Go for
a
it.
23.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, you pierce the horn straight through and pin it to his hand. But the horn is inert now because it just kind of falls apart, and he just like screams, just, ah! And turns around and starts running towards you. Let's do initiative.
Natural 20. And I was really positive thinking right there, too. I think I channeled that natural 20. I really did.
That's a 7.
13.
6.
Oh, I think 23 is my actual number. Sorry.
9.
So Ellashan's all like, "Oh shit, he's coming right for us!" Trying to reload her crossbow.
South Park sketch there.
9
He's
for
coming
Rose,
right
and who
for
got the
us.
13? Sorry, was that Arden?
That was me, correct.
All right, Remy.
How close is the big one?
30 feet.
30 feet.
Short distance, yeah.
And if I move, and there's how many other goblins in the room?
Just one other one, but the other one has heard the shout and is running back, and now sees all of you directly ahead of it.
Okay. I'll head straight towards the big one and do 2 attacks.
Sure thing.
With offhand bonus action attack. That's pretty good. I got a 20 non-natural and a 16.
The 20 hits.
Okay. And Remy is going to be wielding his rapier and a whip in the left hand.
Cool.
Since he doesn't have a short sword right now. But only the rapier hits. So D8. 10 points.
Nice. All right. Yeah, you just cut him good. He kind of shouts again, but it's fine.
Come here, you ugly evil son of a bitch! Ah!
Arden.
All right, I'm gonna. We don't have rules for like non-lethal attacks, right?
Yeah. So you can just choose it to be non-lethal.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be basically aiming for non-vital spots with a bow shot, unless he's too close. But I don't know. Will it be fire? Is there a fire in the melee penalty? Probably not.
No. None of that crap.
Let's see. Rolled low, but 14 to hit.
That does not hit.
Damn it! All right.
You shoot wide. You're sort of. I imagine you're kind of aiming for his shoulder, but it's a bit more of a sort of trick shot, so you sort of miss. You have a movement still, if you'd like.
Not unless he's in my face. Then I'll
No. He's in Remy's face. Well, Remy's in his face, really.
Oh, yeah.
Rose.
I'd like to get up and smash it in the face with my warhammer.
Yep.
In a
Go for
face.
it. 19 to hit.
That's a hit.
7 points of damage.
Ooh, close. All right. Yeah, he knocks back. His face just mashed. He's got even less teeth than he had before, which is saying something. His nose is broken. He's destroyed. Ellashan, it's your turn. But before you get to act, you see a black shadow rising up behind the what's it called, the sledge toe. That's his name. And you see that same skull face, and then it moves forward. Everyone else, you see an orb. The orb sort of materialize behind Sledge Toe and enter the back of him, and Sledge Toe kind of contorts, and then its skin just goes black and blue all over again. And you hear a voice again, and it says, where is it? Yeah. It says, "Still you delve further. You are braver than you look. No matter, I'm feeling peckish." And then Sledge Toe just immediately lunges forward and is going to punch Remy in the face, just bare hand. Where is it? Jesus Christ. Remy, that's an 11 to hit.
It's a miss.
And a 16 to hit.
It's probably a hit. I think that's my armor class.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it punches you. You only take shit. 2 points of damage. My bad.
Think
But-
you're forgetting who's gonna eat here? Eat
This
who?
black mark is left on your face for a second before it disappears. Roll me a d20, please.
Ew, chaos goo. 10.
You're fine. It's and it's just this kind of black light mark that disappears in a sec. But your face feels cold, and chilled. And the goblin just laughs with this like really deep, like sort of evil ass laugh.
Remy spits
Ellashan.
blood in his eye.
Yeah.
And I think seeing like the figure again would cause like Ellashan to like freeze and kind of stop fumbling with like her crossbow and reach out with her magic in an attempt to harm the creature. And she's going to cast Dissonant Whispers on Sledge Toe. So that will be a wisdom saving throw as Ellashan attempts to cast out the shadow with more shadow. Speaking
Attack
that's
the
a
darkness.
3.
Huh?
That's a 3.
Oh yeah, that's gonna fail.
Yep.
As she's all like this, sniss arf nicked, and it's going to be 13 points of psychic damage to Sledge Toe,
Okay.
trying to separate its mind from
Yeah.
its
So
host.
you see Sledge Toe kind of like shake his head and do this, and you see the black and blue sort of pulse and fade slightly, but then come back again. And then Sledge Toe just falls to his knees, and Sledge Toe says, "Pathetic body," and dissipates again. And the orb just sort of fades into the shadows. The other goblin seems unfazed by what's just happened, and launches himself towards Rose. Oh, damn. That's a 22 to hit.
That's a hit.
7 points of slashing damage as he just like kind of cuts into your thigh because he was sort of behind you and everyone was focused on this group. Ellashan, you think you see a kind of shadowy figure just standing in the shadows in the corner, just watching with his arms folded.
Kill it.
But it looks as though it's part of the shadow itself.
Is it my go?
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Your go.
So Byron, initially reluctant at having seen that orb again, is surprised to see that goblin crumple. Perhaps it doesn't have quite the constitution or something to sustain its host. Byron shoots a firebolt at the remaining goblin for 17 to hit.
Yep, that hits.
And strikes it for 6 damage.
It screams in flame, but remains alive.
Well, we have one alive.
Yeah, and it's sort of rolling around trying to put itself out. Just before we move on to the interrogation to come, this is what Ellashan keeps seeing, this figure.
Ooh.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, oh, blessed Salute. I can't even remember my god's name. Blah, 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 blah.
But yeah,
it's like Mega Skeletor.
Yeah, definitely, and it's
Shredder
just
plus
standing
Skeletor.
there.
It's Shredder, Skeletor with the power of Grayskull.
Yeah, I would say for thematic reasons, its cape is probably blue.
Okay.
but you know, that's up to you. Yeah, all right. It's the goblin's turn now, and it just looks around scared, and then tries to run away. But everyone can take a reaction as an opportunity attack or whatever you're going to do to stop it.
Can I try to get
it
him
alive?
Can I try to get it around the ankle with my whip?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Trip him. Kind of drag him in like Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Natural fucking 20.
Okay.
Yeah. Whip him off his feet.
Yeah, pull up his feet. No, it whips round his ankle. You yank it, he falls on his face. 1 damage, he dies. I'm afraid, sorry.
Oh no!
Not in a place that we can stabilize. Or...
I was about to say we can.
No, he just falls down and tries to escape, but you've got him good. And I imagine you sort of jump towards him, pounce on him.
I'll drag him up and kind of get him around the neck with the rest of the whip and just hold him in a chokehold.
I was just going to shoot him through the shoulder and pin him to the ground.
Do that too.
I would think that Ellashan is staring at that shadowy figure off in the corner and is probably like shaking. And so, like to everyone else, she's like just staring at an empty space in the wall.
26 to shoot it, by the way.
Oh, you are still going for the shot. All right. Yeah. You pin him to Remy's leg.
Ah! Wait, what?
I won't make you take any damage, Remy.
No, I was pinning him before he got.
Oh, I know. I'm just being a dick. No, you're fine. Yeah, he is also pinned to the floor and being choked. You've got him in a double whammy. Ellashan, you see the this figure sort of smile and just go and start walking towards you, and you sort of like realize he's coming for you, and then he just disappears.
Smiling must be a real challenge with no lips.
Oh, it's just his mouth opens and there's teeth. Like actually, the face he's doing in that picture is him smiling.
Oh,
Like the bow structure shifts.
Yeah.
Would take like when it advances, she would like back up, and then whenever it's gone, just kind of like look around. They'll like.
I kind of love that everyone's just like, Ellashan's weird now, whatever. No
one else. Oh, okay.
What are you trying to say?
There was a shadow man thing.
Well, you've been describing lots of shadow people. Is this a special one?
It was watching and smiling, and was it the one that was possessing Sludge Toe, or a different figure?
It's been the same one every time. When you went into the ogre's mind, the one that possessed Sledge Toe, every time.
It's the one from the other place.
Okay.
It did that to the ogre, and then did that to the goblin, and it was watching, but I didn't see the flame, the orb that accompanied it before. It was just the figure.
Is it still here now?
No.
Mary takes his sword out and kind of points around.
Oh. Did it walk a certain direction?
It was coming towards me and then vanished.
Okay. Well, keep your third eye peeled, I guess.
And the goblin is just sort of whimpering. Actually, he's also being choked.
Yeah, you're like choking him with the whip, and she's like looking up and like, "Are you all right, Ellie?"
This is the worst day.
Shut up, you!
How dare you try and breathe? Yeah, all right. What happens?
Byron looks somewhat concerned, somewhat intrigued at the tale that Ellashan is telling. It seems you have an interest, a curiosity of it. That probably does not bode well.
Yeah, I imagine it's sort of like, oh, Ellashan said something weird. Scribble, scribble, scribble.
Basically, mental note, a physical note. Um,
Yeah, it's just like Elia Dome. That's or Dome. Nay, I don't know how to say that. Rob, sorry, but I
Domri, sorry.
Domri.
I had to figure out which of the 50 fucking books you were talking about.
you're going to have to tell me about her sometime because I don't recall her. The fellow that I was talking about was a musician, somewhat similar to yourself. Had some power over magic and over music.
By
But
the way,
perhaps we could interrogate the goblin first.
yeah, as you're doing this, Kreen has sort of been edging closer and closer to the goblin. And sort of at this point he's like right above it and leans right down, really close to its face, and you see the goblin's eyes wide, and you hear this sort of crackling noise coming from Kreen. Anyone can interrupt if they'd like.
I'd like to put my finger in his face and say, "Hey, I killed this one."
Kreen just sighs but gives you a nod of respect and steps back, but just stares hungrily at it.
Now, what do we want? Go ahead.
Byron leans down towards the goblin. I have one very important question to ask you. Do you speak common? Loosen it up a little bit, Remy.
All right. Answer him, you little turd.
I speak it.
Good. This might go much better for you then. We're new to this cave, but it seems that you are either in league or perhaps worshippers of, caretakers of some sort of black orb energy. The bad man, he says, turning back to Kreen.
Kreen gives you a nod.
Are you aware of this?
It looks around scared and nods slightly.
You are aware of the blue energy.
Nods again.
What can you tell me of it? An identity? Do you worship it as a god? Where does it come and go?
It came from the door. Then it takes us over and makes us say things. We go to a different place, a dark place, and then it leaves us alone. But it can just come whenever it wants. It has a man, and he beats us and changes, becomes monsters and animals.
It takes the form of a man and beats you, or it
No,
possesses a man, a
takes
certain man. Anybody or a particular person?
the man. And Crane sort of steps forward and says, "The man in the," and it's like pointing towards the door. It takes him, and the goblin's like, "Yes, it takes him. It takes the man. It takes the man." They're agreeing with each other.
Baron like rubs his forehead. Right. So there is a
It's pretty useless talking to these things. Come on, can we get this over with?
One second. Okay, so there is a humanoid man that it takes at some point and rules over you with some kind of iron fist.
Yes, like you.
I would quibble there, but okay. Where is the man currently?
He's in the room with the door.
Right, okay. Does the orb travel to and from through the door to wherever the door opens up to on a regular basis, or has it never set foot back from whence it came?
It's gone sometimes, and sometimes it's here.
Does the man travel to and fro?
No.
No. Right.
If the black ball goes, the man goes to sleep.
Right, but the man can't cross the boundary of the door, or you've not seen such.
No, the man goes to sleep.
Oh,
When the
good
orb
grief.
is possessing the man goes to sleep.
I understand, but I want to know if humanoids can travel through the door or not, safely. Has any
Well, we could
goblin
bring
gone
them
through
along
the
and find
door?
out.
I would rather not one of us walk through the door and then be vaporized. I would rather get the information before
Well, I
that
don't-
happens.
We tie a rope to the goblin. We toss him
Yeah.
through the door. If he comes back and he's not crispy, then humanoids can travel through it.
I
Byron
like the way
points-
you think.
Byron points at Arden. That will happen to you if you don't tell me what I need to know.
It's petrified, and even Kreen looks scared.
Oh, good grief. Are there many of you in this door room? What can we expect to find there?
There is a door and a table.
Oh God,
A
I
man
meant
is on the
goblins.
table. And, well, we don't go in there, but sometimes it takes people in there, but only bigger ones, hobgoblins and
Right, it seeks the strongest. So there are hobgoblins in these caves as well.
yes.
Oh, brilliant. Kreen, how far away is this door room, and can we get there without too many more?
Kreen thinks for a second and says, the door is only a couple of rooms away, and the hobgoblins are only here at night.
Interesting. That is good to know.
You say hobgoblins?
Yes, it appears goblins are not the extent.
That's not good.
No, it is not. They pose a significant threat.
Yep. They ain't as easy to kill as you little fuckers. Choke him a little bit. Put him down.
Byron continues massaging his temples or something. I imagine trying to speak through the broken common and trying to translate the goblin's answers are vexing. Well, we know there is a larger threat here. What is the man's name? What does he call himself?
He thinks for a second, and he goes to say something, but Kreen says, "The man has no name," as he's about to say, and jumps on the goblin.
I push him off.
And Kreen stumbles back and says, "The man has no name."
Now you seem like a dirty liar. What's the man's name? I say to the goblin.
Wait. Are you afraid to say the name? I've been saying that to Green.
Yeah, can I insight check Kreen just now?
Oh, hells yeah. Kreen nods at you.
No, because, shadows in the corner of my eye are distracting, and, it is a natural one.
Damn you guys.
Why
you need to
are
get me
you
some combat
afraid?
so I can get some inspiration?
Why are you afraid to say the name?
He looks at the goblin, and the goblin says, "He hears his name."
Oh. Well, that's not good.
What kind of creature can hear? It's you're saying that no matter where you are, if you say the name, it knows?
Kreen and the
knows?
goblin both nod.
What kind of creature could do that? Arcana / history / nature check.
So smooth.
Which
Yeah, go.
one is it?
All the same number.
Yeah, Arcana, I would say.
Okay. I'll use my inspiration on that roll because it makes more. I missed that. That's 14.
I got a 23.
Good for you,
Pitch down. So Byron would know it's possible for very powerful wizards to place a taboo on certain words so that they are notified when it's said out loud. But you also know that some otherworldly entities, like great old ones and the like, just have that ability. They just have it.
So Byron looked concerned. I've noticed some wizards to mark some of their texts or copyrighted works or their own names with a taboo that triggers whenever people, speak it verbatim, so they can hunt down thieves, frauds, and the like. I have read of similar occasions that otherworldly entities of some great power know whenever their name is spoken. Again, that does not bode well for us to go further into this cave and towards the door room. I believe this creature to be of great power, if we hadn't seen enough evidence already.
I'm kind of with Byron on this one. This is getting less in our favor every second. Probably look up stuff for anti-possession and whatnot before we go face the big bad evil guy.
Ellashan, there is a humanoid shadow, not this thing on my screen, not the one you've been seeing, but a different thing. Just literally a black shadow crawling across the ceiling above you and reaching down like a spider to grab you.
I guess nobody else sees this.
No.
Yeah, I think with like a shadowy thing coming at her from the ceiling, she would grab the necklace around her neck that she had tucked in her shirt and would turn the gem of brightness towards the creature on the ceiling and kind of reflex.
Yeah, sure. The creature stops and just like disappears. Just dissipates into like a cloud of dust that kind of disappears as it falls.
Did you activate the gem of blindness in the room we were in to do that?
And the single target, so it would have been, yes, a like beam of light. I didn't do the cone.
I think still
flashbang the entire
yeah,
time.
I did not flashbang everyone. But yeah, the crystal necklace flares with bright light as she aims it at the ceiling. You guys probably see nothing, but
yeah.
What? Why?
There was something there.
I think she's losing it from being underground.
I'm not going.
She's firing magic off at the sky or at the ceiling. So let's get her home. Yeah, that's probably done.
I think so. Rose, as much as I would like to see this door, perhaps we should come back more prepared. Do you agree?
I just simply wanted to find Kreen.
Excellent. You said this was a chamber with another room attached to it at the back that other goblin went to. Byron is going to give that.
Yeah, well, it's another hallway going on.
Oh, right. Okay. as long as Byron ascertains that it's another hallway, he'll turn back round and just
We're gonna
test.
come back for the brandy anyway, so we'll come back later.
I presume we picked up the wealth, or we can do that on the way out.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
something I forgot to mention until now, so it's happening now. Arden, you see your little spider. It's crawling out of the doorway that you came from, and it's dragging something with it. And it's just this like sort of rattling noise. And you realize it's another identical one, but you know, dead or not working. And it begins just ripping the other one apart and bolting pieces onto it. And you realize now, like, this thing has like a like a screwdriver foot, or like a foot that can spin and bolt, and it's just basically bastardizing these parts and cannibalizing this other one until it's pretty much the size of, I don't know, maybe like a rabbit now. And it turns to you and
So we've got
skitters
batteries
towards
on
you
clip.
and starts climbing up your leg.
What the hell is that? And like Byron like readies his finger and it's already like setting.
It's cool. It's cool. I'm gonna pick it up from the leg onto my hand. It's just a little trinket thing I picked up. Well, it got bigger, but yeah.
Yeah, it begins. One of its feet is like scratching your hand. It's not painful, but it's like rubbing, you know, like drawing on your hand with a pencil almost, just like scratching up and down.
Interesting. I guess I'll try to see what it's drawing.
It's hard to make out. I mean, it's sort of this weird sort of spirally pattern. There's no mark or anything, but it's just kind of scratching across the top of your hand.
Byron like takes a closer look and like lifts up his glasses or something. Does he need to make a roll, or does he have enough evidence that this is perhaps mackerel in nature?
Oh, this is 100% mackerel.
Okay. Where on earth did you find a mackerelian trinket such as that?
Honestly, it was in the woods. I just kind of came across it.
When we're back home, could I take a look at it? I don't need to take it apart, honestly. Not going to harm the creature. He says questioningly. Macrolian things are relatively rare.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, it mostly has a mind of its own, though it's usually not this active. Most of the time, it only moves when I'm not paying attention. You know, you wake up and suddenly it's on your chest.
Curious. Maybe it's resonating with the Macrolian nature of the walls, of these sigils. And he like starts stroking his chin and then like just musing while they're in the middle of like imminent danger.
Is it drawing something or writing something on your hand?
I think it's trying to. Anybody got any paper?
I actually do, and some ink. If you could perhaps dip its foot in the ink and see what it does.
I probably won't mess with its leg, but I'll get it close to the inkwell so that it can do that.
Yeah. Do you like, I imagine you sort of put everything down on the floor and kind of step back, and yeah, it crawls over to the ink, dips its front 2 feet in the ink, and just starts scribbling on the paper. Does anyone speak and read Dwarven by any chance, Rose?
Yeah,
I do too.
Yeah, well, anyone who speaks Dwarven can read what it's saying. And it is just like a list, right? And the top thing is dining room, goblins. Kobold enters. First goblin decapitated. Second goblin decapitated. Third goblin disemboweled. Fourth goblin split in, and then like this weird symbol. And then you see that it's actually a 2, but it wrote it in a really weird way that you wouldn't write it now. And then it keeps scribbling. Found disused parts. and then just dots.
Scribe spider, I guess.
It's a curious dialect. I've seen something like it in some ancient books before, but that's archaic Dwarven.
I have literally never been more bored in my entire life.
It looks like a log of some sort.
It does appear to be analyzing and listing most of our activities, perhaps the ones it was present for.
Yeah, you see the dots are continuing, and then it scribbles into writing more, and it just says, McCrall, ... boardroom, ... 4 goblins, ... arrow fired, 1 goblin dead, and it just starts listing the battle that you just had.
I'm curious, does it mention when it finishes, does it mention like the figures that Ellashan saw, or does it just mention half elf twitching?
Yeah, it does mention that you fired it off, and then
Half elf with PTSD.
Yeah, and then it starts transcribing your exact conversation. It flips over the paper.
Remy's going to start checking around the room, just making sure the area is secure.
Yeah, you find some fucking loot.
Haha! Don't tell anybody.
You find the chief has a purse on him. 18 gold, 2 platinum. Each of the goblins has 8 electrum, so that's 24 electrum, and a total of 15 silver as well. Are you getting all this? Because I'm doing it quite quick.
I'm trying to. What was
I got
the
it.
silver?
Nice.
Oh, there
It
we
being
go.
an old module, there's just a list.
18 gold, 2 platinum, 24 electrum, 15 silver.
Yep.
Got it. Thank you.
There's a silver cup that looks quite ornate. There are some old slimy ass bows hanging on the wall.
Slimy bows.
I'm all good.
There's a bench near the bed that has a drawer under it that would flap under like a secret, but it's broken. And inside is a rolled up sort of tapestry, very similar to the one on the wall opposite. There is also a stand with a pewter bowl on it, which has 273 silver and 321 copper. I can repeat any of that you did.
23 silver.
273 silver, 321 copper. I love old modules.
I will inform the party of the loot. While you guys are, fiddling with the thingamabob, I found some gold over here.
What nose for it?
What do you say about my nose?
That it's good at finding gold?
Oh, okay, yeah.
That seems a little anti-Semitic. What do the tapestries depict?
One of them just depicts a massive mountain, and the other one depicts the same mountain but made of gold.
Oh, these are quite lovely.
Are they in good condition?
Yeah, very. The one rolled up is the one. The one rolled up is the one with the gold mountain. The one not rolled up is the one with the normal mountain on it, and that one is a bit damaged, but not too badly. And the one with the gold mountain is pretty much pristine.
I think we should probably gather this stuff together and leave. I need to do some research before we face this man, his hobgoblins, and whatever this shadowy ball is.
The goblin, the little dwarven spider has run out of ink, and so it the last thing written is confirm, or the ancient dwarven equivalent.
Oh, do we still have the goblin that I was choking?
Yeah.
Might just let it
Um,
along the
He's
room.
blue
isn't
in
he?
the face.
No. So what I picture is that I feel like I instead of having the whip in two hands, I put it in one hand. So I'm just gonna take my dagger and stick it into the back of the skull.
Yeah, it dies silently.
Drop it, shake my whip out.
Yeah.
Does anybody actually mention the confirm part to me? Or
I will.
Okay.
Barnago, your spider seems to be waiting for confirmation.
Confirm.
And as soon as you say that, it just whoosh, this like flash of a spark, and the paper is just burnt up. This
Oh,
message will self-destruct style.
Well, I wasn't expecting that.
And then it just crawls back up your leg and sort of condenses down into the size of like a pebble and just sits itself in your pocket.
That's
Now-
interesting. It's like it's a spy stir. She
Oh,
laughs.
Hey,
And it reports what it's seen, and then once you've confirmed that you've read the message, it destroys it. So you could use it to spy on things, perhaps. Perhaps that was its original intent.
Can this thing find its way back to the keep?
well, I'd rather not find out. I'll just keep it with me.
You would know though. You've had it for a fair amount of time. Like
Yeah.
you've like realized it's missing a load of times, but no matter what, it's always found its way back.
Yeah,
So
but yeah, it always turns up eventually.
yeah, eventually.
You
don't
can
know
leave
how
it
long
here.
takes.
You can leave it here and have it spy for us. We can know what's going on while we're away.
maybe you could have it check out the room, and then report to us when we return. To the
Well,
keep or something.
I'd love to, but do any of you know how to actually order it to do so? That's
Perhaps-
the problem here. I didn't even know that it could do that until just now. So I think maybe we should figure it out before we rely on it.
Absolutely.
Don't magic doohickeys usually respond to voice stuff?
I don't think it's magic. It's never actually shown up as that magical.
It does have like a little red glowing bit
Okay.
as
Okay.
an energy source. It could be magical.
All right.
You've never really given it any thought.
I'll let Byron look it over and tell me exactly what I can do before I kind of.
All right.
Because it may stay on us, and it may then, if we're not here, it may give them the information.
Yeah, Byron, I will say you can make either a history check to determine if you've like read about it, or an arcana check to see if you can figure it out.
I had an idea. I'll go with Arcana, but I had an idea that basically Byron starts reeling off dwarven words for manual or instructions, and then it will print its own instructions out, and then he could direct how it works.
Nothing happens if you say that.
Okay, that's a shame. That's a 21.
Okay. So yes, this is as Corin said, pretty much a spiedster. So they were pretty much used by nobles and the private investigator equivalent sort of thing, where people would just send them into a room and it would sit in the corner just watching. And you could say go watch that room for an hour, and it would sit in the corner and watching, and then in an hour it would come find you pretty much no matter where you were, and would write out the instructions for you, or write out what's happened for you. You would know that they're highly, because they were used by so many different people, they're all different. So people sometimes would make theirs assassin ones or spy ones or whatever it might be, but that it's definitely a sort of, you can make it act how you want it to.
But only its master, presumably. Arden can give it commands. That's who it's attached to.
Yeah, they are. So that I'll say, yeah, you would know that basically these things, whoever is its current owner, whoever it has deemed its current owner, is the person it will serve. And so like it won't serve someone else, just basically designed for if the person it was spying on found it or whatever, you know, it wouldn't just do what it's told, it would run away, sort of thing.
What are my thoughts on whether this guy, whether the man, this presumed like cultist style guy, could he sense the magic coming from this thing? Is it dangerous to send it into his room?
The magic is extremely simple and weak.
Okay.
So
it's built to be covert, so it has
like
repressors or whatever.
Yeah. You'd have to be looking for it, pretty much, or just be able to sense magic all around you.
I get the sense from what I've read previously about tools similar to this that it probably will likely only respond to you, Arden, and it is giving off the slightest, very slightest sense of magic. So you may well be safe just commanding it verbally now to do the reconnaissance we needed, and then it returning to us in a matter of hours to tell us what went on.
Okay. I'll hold it in my hand, and I'll try it in common first. Find the room with the door. Watch it for the night. Come back to the keep tomorrow at dawn.
You see the red light kind of blink, and it begins scribbling on your hand again, and then the light turns yellow. Gold,
I need some paper. Crap. Any more paper?
Ellashan provides another sheet.
Yeah.
Ellashan provides.
Ellashan provides. Yeah, it writes Dwarven, and those of you who speak Dwarven, it starts writing like almost in code, but you sort of see like things like language analysis or all these different things, and then it starts writing in common.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. And it just says understood, and then scampers off like a creepy fucking thing, and it climbs up the wall and climbs along the ceiling.
They grow up so fast. I'll take the paper with me.
It would be interesting. It might help me figure it out if I have that scrolling that it just did.
Oh yeah, I'll give it to Byron then.
Thank you. You can hold on to it if you wish, but
the skittering dies out, and then gets louder again, and you see it skittering back into the room, and it skitters onto the paper, and it writes alert, imminent danger detected, and then climbs up into your pocket.
Well, that's not good.
Oh, by the gods. Did it skitter through the tunnel on the other side of the room?
It skittered into the one that you guys didn't come from.
Can we leave now?
Yeah, I think we should back out and keep watch as we go backward.
You do hear behind you some sort of footsteps, sounding very, very quiet, but you can tell it's the sort of clicking, scratching sound.
Remy's going to load his heavy crossbow and just point it, and as soon as he sees something, he's going to fire at it. He's walking backwards. He's leaving with the group, but he's kind of doing a slow retreat with the crossbow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Arden's going to be doing as well. He's got his bow ready, got the arrow drawn back.
And you see crawling around the corner is a giant spider. Its skin black and blue, and it starts crawling towards you. And as soon as it sees you, Remy, I'll let you shoot first, but it's going to shoot a glob of web.
How do you like 17?
Very much.
Then I shoot it.
Yeah.
11 points of damage.
Yeah, it like lets out this shriek and runs, and you see its form change, and it turns into a man. The man has blue and black skin. He is clearly has some elfish blood in him, probably not full elf. But it's hard to make out many features when his face is gaunt and black and blue. And he speaks to you in that voice, but coming from a human or a humanoid mouth rather than a goblin mouth, it sounds completely different.
Say, oh, buddy, I'm really sorry. I thought you were a spider.
And it says, leaving so soon.
Oh, it's the orb thing.
Steps
I guess
towards
he
you.
doesn't want to talk.
Evil man.
It is wearing a sort of very light hide armor. It's not wearing a top, or he's not wearing a top, I should say. But his legs are sort of covered in this sort of primitive fur, sort of not armor but clothing, and he's got these fur boots on. From what you can sort of make out on the black and blue skin, his torso is mottled, covered in scars. Like the only reason they're visible is because they're raised, and these are like forearm length scars. And his face is sort of, his hair is tied up in a sort of top knot behind him. He's got sort of a scraggly beard, but his face is relatively untouched, apart from obviously the glowing white eyes and the blue and black skin. And it just walks towards you, sort of strutting, and says, why not stay a while?
That's okay. We've kind of already taken all your stuff, so not many reasons to stick around. Thank you, though.
And
I'm knocking another arrow. I'm about to fire it at him whenever I have a chance.
yeah, sure. And it says, you mistake my politeness for a request. And you see the man's chest get thrown forward and his arms go back. And Ellashan, you see the black skeletal figure come flying out of this man. And it flies straight towards Remy. And it has this freakish smile on its face, and it is like grasping for Remy's face.
I'm gonna shove Remy out of the way of it.
I'll pause you there a sec.
Oh.
Just let me finish, okay?
Okay.
So this thing is moving instantly. Everyone else, you don't see the orb. You see a very, very sort of slight imprint of the man. Like if Ellashan is seeing him as he is, you guys are seeing him like a shade, as if his opacity has been turned down. And he flies towards Remy. And he's going to get to Remy in less than a second. There is nothing physical that you can do, Ellashan. But you see time sort of slow down, and you are instantly transported back into the same realm that you were before. And it is flying, gliding slowly towards Remy. You, for some reason, you know that while you're here, time works differently and life works differently. If you wish, you may choose to stop this thing from taking over Remy. But if you do that, you will take a point of chaos without a roll, but the effect could work. And the way this manifests itself is that he is flying towards it and you are there with him. And he looks at you and says, oh, I see, and sort of stops. And you can use his own power, his own chaos against him to send him back, but that gives you a point of chaos. Otherwise, Remy may be taken over himself.
I think the moment she realizes she does it without hesitation.
Okay.
The moment she realizes she can stop it, she's going to stop it.
So you stretch out a hand towards him, and as you look, your skin is black and blue. And this bolt of black and blue light comes out of your own hand and blasts him, impacts him, and sends him flying backwards. He stands up and smiles, but it's almost as if it's vines and they're pulling him down into the ground. And he laughs. Just this kind of sickly, disgusting chuckle. And he says, I understand now. You're not the one from before. See you soon. And he's gone. You come back. Everyone else, you just saw Ellashan become a black and blue spectral version of herself and blast this black energy out of her hand. And you watched the man or the creature dissipate. Ellashan, the only other effect of this, apart from the point of chaos, is that being and occupying the same space and wielding his power, you hear his name ringing inside your head. His name is Durakai, the Defiler. And this name, even hearing it in your head, has this sickening effect on you. It makes your stomach reel. And you fall to your knees, blind again.
So now can we leave?
I guess we'll run over to her and check her out just to see, one, if she's blind again, and two, if she's alive.
Okay, Ellashan, just so you know, now you're at 2 points of chaos, which means you have disadvantage on all chaos point saves from here on out.
Oh, okay.
Just so you know. So, Remy, you just watched Ellashan wield the same power that was about to engulf you and save your life.
Did I have any sense that I was about to be attacked or
it was
engulfed?
coming for you. You could hear him laughing inside your head.
Okay.
You could hear him
I was
whispering
under the
your
impression
name.
it was all happening too fast for me to perceive.
It was, but it was like you were seeing it in your mind as well. And you just know.
Okay.
Well, we should get her out of here. Can you give her a sight back again, Rose?
Yeah, I can cast again.
You do so?
Yeah.
The shadows remain at your peripherals, Ellashan. And every time you close your eyes, you see his snarling face in front of you.
You didn't have to do that.
Yes, I did. It's like Byron said, your blades against the rest of us wouldn't have been pretty.
But you could have taken me down. You didn't have to do that. It's done now, though.
The body that was being inhabited before is collapsed on the ground. And he's slowly bringing himself to his feet. You can see now more clearly that he's got this sort of rugged, handsome face. He's covered in scars, which look even worse now. And he's got sort of a couple of pouches and pockets on his trousers, but and he kind of tries to stand but falls over, and is breathing sort of heavily and painfully.
Are we still alive?
He's still alive.
You You okay there, buddy? Friend or foe?
And he sort of sits up. He's clutching his side, and he says, "Let's say friend."
Insight?
Yeah.
I was thinking it.
Yeah, insight.
Sure.
Everyone can make an insight check if they wish.
I have no insight. Is it wisdom? I forget. Because I don't have the
Yeah.
character sheet up, so
Yeah.
I don't see all
Yeah.
the skills.
11.
I made my own character sheet.
14.
14.
17.
All right. Those of
Did
you
you
who got
Did
14.
you roll with
Oh, yeah.
advantage rolls, Rose? 'Cause
Oh, yeah, Rose.
I did roll with an advantage.
Thank Crean. Yeah, Rose. You think he's sort of you get the impression he wasn't trying to be distrusting or anything, but more that he's one of those types who deal with pain with sort of jest, and so you get the impression it was you're like, oh, he's trying to sort of be brave and strong and try and make a joke rather than actually actually being like, I think I'll be your friend so that you don't kill me.
Well, there's no guarantee of that.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think that he was kind of trying to make a joke so he doesn't die.
Yeah. Not that so he doesn't die. He's just
He's
he's been through this super traumatic thing, and so his first instinct
He's just trying to make light of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Plus, he got shot with a crossbow by Remy, so.
Yeah, which is now what's piercing out of his bleeding side.
And I thought you were a spider.
I was a spider. That's fair.
Yeah.
And he holds out a hand for someone to help him up.
Did you say he was half elfin?
I'll
He
help
looks
him
that
up.
way. Yeah, he looks
Okay.
like a half elf. Yeah, he takes it and kind of he claps you on the back to say thank you, but then you feel just his whole weight lean on you as he sort of collapses.
Okay, I'm carrying him then. I'm gonna sling him into a fireman's carry, I guess. Actually, how bad is the thing bleeding?
It's sticking out of him pretty badly. And he grabs it and just yanks it out and just goes, "Ugh! Oh, damn it, little one, you're a good shot."
Yeah, I don't think that was a good thing. Now you're kind of bleeding everywhere.
And he says, yeah. And you see his hand glow sort of from under it, and you see the wound is like patched, but you see dark blood sort of pooling under the skin. He's superficially healed it, but it's a bit deeper than he had the ability for right at this moment. And he sort of steps forward. I don't know, I think it's someone on Dylan's end. And he steps forward and looks immediately at you, Ellashan, and just says, "I know what you did." And just closes his eyes and nods really slowly at you.
I only did what I had to do. What is your name, friend?
I'm Athras. And
Elathris, if you don't mind, we were just leaving.
oh, that sounds fantastic.
Right.
The other thing you see is Kreen is gone again. And you sort of look around and you see him. He's on all fours, his tail's up in the air, and he's sniffing the floor. And he like reaches in and begins scratching and pulling away at the floorboards over in the corner. Which the floor is all stone apart from this sort of one little area where there's like floorboards being put over something. And he pulls it apart. And you see him reach in and pick something up that's kind of squirming in his hand. You see this sort of like a bird's wing, and he just kind of looks at it and licks his lips, then goes to put it in his mouth and looks around. And I imagine he sort of catches eyes with Rose and sort of puts it down. And you hear the sort of screeching, cawing, like squeaking noise coming from his hand as whatever bird-type creature is just kind of flapping its wings.
Let it go, Kreen.
And he like sighs and lets go. And from his hand just falls unceremoniously this tiny little bird creature.
Byron, with a flick of the wrist, summons a mage hand to catch it and lifts it up and brings it further towards him.
Yeah, and immediately you know it's not a bird. It's this is like a day-old baby griffin. And Kreen says,
What?
turns around and digs his hand back in and begins pulling up like this. Well, you can't see it, but eventually there's this sound of like snapping bone, and he's got this sort of a bit of a wing, but it's like full size, like bigger than Kreen, and he's just like ripping apart, you know, feathers, and he jumps down into the hole and is just scrabbling away, and there's like feathers and gooey blood sounds. And
Wait, I'm confused. Did Kreen kill the baby griffin?
no,
No, I think there's
Byron has it.
another griffin in there.
Okay.
I don't think it was alive when he found it, though.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
presuming not.
So there's
Because
one
it
live
didn't
one, which is a
screech out.
baby,
Yeah.
and one dead one, which is not a baby.
Remy's gonna go down to the baby and pick it up.
Yeah, it's on the mage hand at the moment.
Oh, is that where it is? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm still catching up. What's going on?
Anybody have
Okay.
a handle animal besides me?
At the minute I can carry it, I would rather leave than you tame this thing right here.
Yeah, and
And you're already handling a half elf, so
I mean, it's just a baby. You can handle it any way you want.
I wasn't talking about taming, just the fact that, like, you know.
I mean you already have a half elf strewn across your shoulders. Surely I can bear some burden.
True. I mean, you know, just watch out for the beaks. I hear they're razor sharp when they're young.
I'm not going to be using my hands, don't worry.
Once it's close enough, Remy's gonna go up and go, "Gudgy, gudgy, gudgy. Oh, you're adorable."
Yeah, it like nips the end of your finger.
Ah,
Doesn't hurt at all. But,
Oh.
yeah, it's more like a, you know, it doesn't have the jaw muscle. This thing is probably
Right.
a day old.
So I'll just kind of let it chew on my finger.
Kreen comes out the hole. He's covered in meat juice, and he's walking with a limp.
You just kill.
But his hand is behind his back.
You just kill that griffin by yourself.
I think it was already
It wasn't
dead.
big.
Oh, okay.
What
Yeah, I
griffin?
think he just ate it because he was hungry. What's that behind your back, boy?
He just pulls out, and it's like the hand of one of the griffins, like a griffin's sort of claws.
Yeah.
And sort of looks a bit sheepish, but then just kind of keeps a hold of it with two hands.
That's good eats.
He nods.
Like chicken feet, but big.
He nods again.
Feet's the best part.
And Athra says, not trying to be rude, but can we go?
You may not be trying to be rude, but you are.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he's strung over a human's shoulders, and that, you know, can't be comfortable.
Well,
And
he's
we're just
already a bit of an
standing around.
inconvenience, isn't he?
It's cool. I'll carry him.
You were carrying him.
Yeah.
And
But we should go.
he says, wait, I'll make life easier. And you see him just instantly turn into a mouse. Just like crouches down and he's a mouse.
Oh, cool. He can be in the pocket with the spider.
Yeah. you just hear the sound of like screeching and screaming and mouse dying.
No.
No, the spider's like a pebble in your pocket.
Yeah, no, I'll put him in like the I'll put him under the leather armor or something.
Cool. All right. Well, assuming you guys make
Are we taking
like a tree.
the keg of brandy or not?
I mean,
Yeah.
Strong people lifting it.
you can carry it,
Okay.
but what I was more saying is like you couldn't carry it through a dungeon and be
Sure.
practical. But yeah, you can
Okay.
carry it. It might take Rose to carry it though. Like I'm not sure Remy could manage.
Got a 14
Alright,
strength.
lift with the knees.
Yeah.
Just like throw it behind my back and like carry it like pack mule.
Like Remy, you could probably fit in there.
Probably.
All right. Well, your return to your horses and Amon goes uneventfully. Amon stares at you coming up and sees that you all just look like you've been put through the ringer, and says, "Well, that looked like it went well," and sort of laughs.
Missed a good fight.
Byron looks pristine, either through magic or the fact that he didn't get touched, but he kind of like straightens out his suit or whatever, his jacket. We learned a lot, actually.
Well, that may be so, but we're losing our light, so let's go. And he just
My thoughts exactly.
starts running ahead.
I think like once we're in like the relative safety of the open air, Ellashan would go over to Byron and say like, "Do you intend on carrying it back in your mage hand the entire way? It's a newborn. It needs contact. I'll hold it if you don't want to."
Super subtle.
Everyone seems awfully keen at possessing this griffin.
It's a baby griffin. It's cute.
Fine. Whoever wishes to have it can have it.
I want it.
I'm going to leave it to anyone else to take it.
Byron's such a bitch.
Don't give it to Remy.
I am a very nurturing individual.
I'm gonna completely disagree with that on every level. Even on the
Everyone
fundamental
has an equal say. Anyone can have it. There is no favoritism towards Remy otherwise. But I'm not making the decision. You guys can make the decision for the griffin.
We can give it back to Creed.
Give it to Ellashan. She could use
Cream
comfort.
doesn't want it eaten.
No, none of us would. It is an adorable little precious baby, and it should be nurtured.
Crean barely burps in the background.
Green's like, he hears his name and he looks up and he's just got one of the toes in his mouth. And he just like, spits out the claw.
Little Griffy, no!
Well, I mean, I
the
just
hand he was carrying, not the little one.
I just didn't want it to be floating in a mage hand as we're riding down horses. I'm not disparaging your concentration, but if something was to happen, you would drop it, and that would be rather unsafe.
I'll lean to Byron and say, I think she could use some comfort. Let her have the little thing.
And
All right, fine.
Byron whispers, so literally only Arda can hear. Are you sure in her current state we can really trust her with a defenseless living creature?
Wow, that was harsh. I think she's cool, man. Don't worry. Don't worry so much. Just give it to her and be the hero. Give him a wink.
Byron clears his throat. I'm in no need of being a hero. I only need to see that whatever that thing possessing her is defeated. And
I'm sure you were popular in your hometown, weren't you?
I am talented wherever I go. Popular, perhaps not, but such is the cost
You
of
don't say.
So I imagine this conversation takes place on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
we're
like,
traveling.
okay. Because otherwise it'd be really awkward as like Ellashan's kind of like waiting to hear Byron's answer and they're like just kind of like whispering and like looking over their shoulders at Ellashan. That would be like super rude and
Kind of huddle
awkward.
going on.
Yeah, a little like, I don't know, can she have it? I don't know. Her eyes still kind of look a little gray. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Super anime moment.
I figured
Dab.
we'd set off. Otherwise, Byron, I'd quite happily leave it on the ground or something for someone else to deal with. Whoever wishes to rear the creature, please do take their best efforts.
Okay, fine. I'll hand it to Elisha. Trying to help you out here, buddy.
Thank you, Arden. And like I think Ellashan would put it in like the little crook of one arm as, you know, riding the horse and kind of like speaking to it in Elvish.
If he gets hungry, I've got a mouse for him.
I would think that our new druid friend might take offense to being fed to a baby griffin. I'm sure we can find something for him to eat.
I don't know. He's a druid, cycle of nature and whatnot.
I think he would just revert to his human shape inside the griffin.
Yeah, that would be a horrible, horrible, painful death for the poor baby griffin. Amon, do you have like some rations, some jerky?
Oh, Amon's miles ahead. He
Oh,
just
he's,
he
like,
just started running because he's
okay.
not on a horse, so he needs the head start.
Okay,
So
fine.
Oh, yeah,
he just and he's
I have plenty of rations.
he's keeping up.
Okay.
Remy's gonna start chewing up little bits of jerky and like just while Ellashan is holding him, just like feeding him chewed up jerky.
Oh, yeah.
Rose,
Perfect.
Please don't. He's gonna spit it into his mouth.
He can't eat it if I don't chew it.
Rose, how is Kreen getting home? Are you riding on the horse with him, or is
Yeah, I
he
guess-
running beside you?
I guess you could ride on the horse with me, maybe.
Yeah, I mean the horse. It's a horse, and you're a dwarf,
Yeah.
so you know there's room. So he can ride, but he is petrified, and he's like hanging on to you. You know, for dear life.
Spooking the horse.
So, yeah. So we will skip ahead a little bit in the interest of time to your return home. You trot in, and you hear the sort of horn ring and the door open, and everyone's waiting for you. You see that the courtyard has definitely been like swept and a lot of stuff and kind of what's it called, like debris has been moved sort of in the day pretty much at this point that you've been gone. It's sort of evening at this point. As well as this, when you enter, you see that there's this sort of big glowing dome, and Bazrag sort of greets you, and he says, "There's some there were two, I don't know, robed gentlemen," and he sort of says it with a bit of a sort of disrespectful attitude, and he says, "Two robed gentlemen for you, sir," to Byron. They left this enormous box, but apart from that, they've gone. And you see that this dome inside is just this huge box, like the size of a car.
Can he like inspect whatever the maybe the documentation stuck to it or something?
Yeah, he says. Bazrak says, "Yeah, there's a note on top of it that they said you should read." And you can see there's like a smaller package on top, sort of wrapped in this kind of brown gauze. If you go up to the dome, you instantly recognize it as a sort of modified Lehman's tiny hut type thing, and you think probably only you can go through it until it's dispelled. It's sort of standard fare for magical, deliveries and stuff, where you just leave the dome and only the person who it's intended for can go in it.
Lehman's delivery dome.
Yeah, pretty much.
Byron reads the note.
Yeah, so you go in, there's a package, and you take the note off the package, and it says, "Ivy Scholar Rutherford. Please find attached a shipment of 167 books pertaining to the subject matter you asked about. We wish for you to begin a wing of the Halls of Ivy in your new keep, which we have been informed partially belongs to you. We'll be sending you 2 fine apprentices to study under you, however they will not be arriving for a month or 2. In addition, and as a representation of your new standing, you have been awarded the position of Arbiter Arcanus and have a seat on the council. Your work is appreciated, and we are willing to fund the partial construction of the keep once we have received confirmation of receipt of this package. We have included a few items to aid your studies in the field. We expect that you will remember this when you find any treasure or interesting artifacts that may be of interest to the Halls of Ivy. Yours, Grand Archivist Thrisk. Inside the box is a tiny, tiny pouch. It's pretty much a coin purse, but it looks like it's made from a material that's like the night sky. As you pick it up, it sort of it fits in the palm of your hand, about the size of like a small apple. And you open it and you can see it stretches out like as wide as you'll stretch it, and you recognize it as a standard bag of holding. In addition, there's some healing potions, a pop-up alchemy set, 2 golden daggers, and a portable mortar and pestle.
Remy sees the golden daggers like, shiny.
What was it? Pop-up alchemist set, 2
All in the
golden
chat.
daggers, and a mortar and pestle.
Yeah, it's all in the chat for you.
Okay, thanks very much.
Bazrag then sees Kreen and pulls out his axe and says, "Madam, there's a kobold," and he goes to like step forward.
I wouldn't screw with this guy.
No.
He'll fuck you up.
And he like
Eddie.
looks between the two of you, says, "What?" And Kreen
Oh,
is
yeah.
like hiding behind you, Rose, squeaking.
Kreen, it's all right. The Thunder has seen fit to bless me with this kobold, that I may teach him.
Don't sound so excited about it.
Well, a few hours ago it was much more exciting, but he was quite troublesome in the halls.
And Bazrak just gives you this incredulous look, and then gives like a, "All right then, that's above my pay grade," type look, and says, "Can I get you anything? Do you need anything from me? It's getting late."
I don't know. Prepare dinner. And we're
Of course. And he starts walking off to the Blissful Mistress.
So, hey, Hux, I saw you got some shiny daggers. You don't need those daggers, do you?
Let me ascertain their purpose first, and then perhaps we'll give them to you. If they are, part of this set, I may well need them.
All right.
But I will
when
think
you
of you,
really think
my
about
friend.
it, which of us is more likely to stab somebody?
You, my friend, always.
Well,
Let me
you know where to find me, pal.
I do, in the bath. or
Probably
in
been
bed.
the nicest to you that he's ever been.
Oh, think of you, my friend. This box, is it just like in the middle of the foyer of the keep, or?
Yeah, it's literally in the courtyard.
Oh. Bazrag, you wouldn't mind helping me, offload these into somewhere inside the keep, would you?
And he looks and says, of course. What is it?"
I presume, and then I can check that it is
Yeah.
a lot of books.
There's gaps in the wood, and yeah, it's just books.
Yeah. A lot of books, 167 to be precise. There is a lot of research to be done on this area and the threats that assail us.
And he nods and says, why don't I fetch Wodek? He's been He's been clearing out a space for you to store books and papers and things.
Oh,
So,
fantastic.
well,
You do
maybe
treat me so
he might
well.
be helping.
Um,
And he smiles
If-
and bows awkwardly.
if you could pay particular attention to protecting these when I'm absent, they hold a great deal of information that the halls of Ivy hold dear.
Very well, sir. I'll protect
Thank
them
you.
with my life. And he
I
like
hope
gives
that
you
isn't
an awkward
necessary.
salute
Yeah.
and runs off to find Wodek, forgetting to go to the Blissful Mistress. So, what would you like to do?
Remy wants to wipe the blood off his armor and body.
Okay.
He's going to go over to Kreen and say, "Yeah, well, good work today, Shitty-O." Hold out his hand like that.
To shake? Or Kreen holds out a hand to shake.
Not that, you idiot. Give me my sword back.
Oh. And he gives you a sword, and it's like he has to like unstick it from his hand because of the dried blood on it, and gives it to you and sort of looks mournfully.
So, is this the first time you've ever used a sword?
He nods.
Well, you are a natural. Come along with me. I'm going to show you a few things.
And as they walk away, I'm going to start talking to him about how to properly care for blades and like start cleaning. I'm going to clean it off on his shirt and then take out an oily rag and kind of clean it with him.
Awesome. And yeah, he is like listening with intent. What's everyone else doing?
Well, I'm gonna tell the druid to get out of,
Oh yeah, he sort of morphs and just falls down on his back and sort of groans and slowly gets to his feet.
After that, I'll just I'll tell Byron that let me know whenever he's done with the books and he wants to study the spider. And I'm gonna go to the inn and get some food.
Yeah, and there's a stew that's been boiling all day, so it's just delicious food ready for you to help yourself to.
It's like
Please do
away.
swing by whenever you want. I'll research the spider whenever I can. Apologies.
So I'm assuming Byron starts sort of moving the books inside.
Yeah, he does his best. Unseen servant, mage hand himself,
Yeah.
and whatever help he can, and to find the corner that.
And yeah, like it probably takes you like half an hour or so with Wodek's help as well.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, the space he's cleared out is like a really old library, and he's only been able to clear out part of it because it's enormous. And it's one of the ones with like ladders that you can climb to get to bookshelves that are it's like the library takes up like 2 stories and has a balcony and all this stuff. It's crazy. But there's only like one bookshelf of it, but one bookshelf is enough for 160 books, I would say. So it's enormous, this room, and it's sort of it's like above or off in a sort of wing of the house where none of the rooms are, kind of bottom floor, and goes up to the top floor.
Interesting.
But I want to know what Ellashan is doing.
I was going to say, like, as we were leaving the caves and stuff, have like the shadows in like the fields of her vision subsided any?
After a few hours, they go. But like for the whole journey back, they were still there. But then eventually they sort of dissipate.
Okay, and I think like the part of the trip back, at least, she's been like caring for the tiny little griffin baby. So she'd be kit, cub. What would you call a griffin baby? Cub?
A
Pup?
Cub? I don't know.
Fledgling, maybe?
Hatchling?
Fledgling. That's the one. Excuse me. Ellashan would take the fledgling to the blissful mistress. Hold on.
If she can make it there.
Yeah, Ellashan dies of the Black Plague. Yeah, cool. So,
And ask Helga for some meat to feed the thing, small little chunks.
yeah, and she kind of gives you this old piece of mutton. Well, not old, but like not. It's cooked, but not. It was cooked like earlier this morning and is leftovers. And you can just tear it up and feed it to the griffin.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Trying to, cheer herself up with the tiny little griffin baby. Does it
What's
have
Rose
black
doing?
feathers?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just sort of got these. It's still got a lot of the down, the sort of fur, but yeah, there's a few feathers sort of sprouting on the wings. There's feathers.
Yeah. She's probably thinking up like names for it already. Elvish baby talk.
Yeah. What's Rose doing?
Rose would probably go to Kreen and tell him that you could practice with Remy, but meet me just before dawn tomorrow. I need to speak to you about some things. And then I'd head off to the Blissful Mistress for some dinner as well.
Very well. Creed doesn't need to eat because he already had his dinner. And we'll sort of once Remy sort of taught him everything. Did you give him back the sword, or are you keeping it?
I hold on to it.
Cool.
Now listen, when you're done doing whatever Rose tells you to do, you're gonna come see me right after, and I'm gonna show you how to properly use a sword.
And he just nods, and you can see him like filing that away, not to forget, and scampers off to find Rose. Meanwhile, what's Arden doing?
Probably digging into the soup. Long day of
Just having a cool off.
Yeah. Plus, he's sad about the bear, so he's just gonna drown that in food. Little bear.
Byron, after a couple hours, of you being finished, and Wodek's gone back to his business, he comes back, and he says, he kind of knocks timidly on the door. Enters.
Enter.
He says, Mr. Rutherford, sir,
Please do call me Byron.
Byron. I would like to talk about the rebuilding process. Maybe tomorrow, if we could get everyone together and figure out how we're going to start the rebuilding this keep, and where should we start?
We have just come into a little bit of money. We should be able to pay the workers.
Fantastic.
I think everyone has their own interests about where to start. Rose has a history in construction and artisan craftsmanship and the like. She seems quite keen on our defenses first and foremost. I would perhaps talk to her.
I shall send word to the king at once to send us some
stonemasons and the like.
Exactly.
I mean, I do agree with her. I think there is a practicality to shoring up the walls and our defenses against any further attack, and then when it's safe, obviously more colonists can come in and grow this place. I don't know the rough amount that we gathered today, but I think if you do go to speak to her, she'll be able to give you some answers.
He nods and heads off.
I just before he leaves, yeah, anything that she suggests, just accept that I have backed her decision.
Okay.
I'm going to stay with these books. Disturb me if you will.
Yeah, and he sort of looks impressed at the library and heads off. Who is in the Blissful Mistress with Arden?
I imagine I would have arrived.
Yeah. And Kreena's, I'll say at the point of this event happening that's about to happen, Kreena's still with Remy.
And Ellashan is there as well.
Okay. So you hear a tapping at the window. And it's a raven that's sitting on the windowsill, tapping the window with its beak.
Suddenly, I heard a rapping.
And if you don't do anything, it continues tapping.
I'll go over to the window and I guess open up and let it.
It enters, and as soon as it does, there's like this poof noise, and it transforms into a disgusting old woman. Her skin is like this bluish purple. She's bent double, has a humpback, a disgusting warty face, and her hair is almost bald, but there's a few kind of lank black strands, and she's wearing these sort of formless robes, and she grabs you by the throat, Arden, and the whole room goes cold. Ellashan and Rose, you guys can't move, and you're just frozen in place. And she pulls you close, Arden, until your face is right up against hers, and she's breathing pretty much into your mouth this disgusting breath. Tastes like fish. And she says, "Hello, grandson."
Oh, it's you. Not good.
And she kind of lets go of you, but you can't move either, so you're still kind of bent over in this weird pose, as if she was grabbing you. And she kind of turns her back and says, "The 100 hags. We sense a change coming. And, well, you're of the hag's blood. You will do your bidding." And she sort of cackles a little bit. And then she says, "You will receive instructions soon. Sleep well." And she turns back into a raven and flies out the window.
That's not good.
Okay, everyone saw that one this time, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I've got some explaining to do.
Maybe just a little bit.
All right, but can you keep it from the others? Yeah. Who all saw that, by the way, besides Ellis?
Just the three of you,
Okay.
or the four of you. Is it 3 or 4? Whoever was in the inn saw you. No one else.
'Cause I thought Byron was doing the books and
Yeah,
Remy
Byron's
was
doing the books
Crean.
and Remy's with
I just
Crean.
didn't know.
Remy's
I just didn't know if,
Training Crean.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if like the innkeeper or anybody were in there.
And no one else.
So I'll sit down. So I have a bit of a not the greatest family in the world. My mother was a sorceress, and which is kind of where my magic comes from. And a while back, I did a little bit of digging into the family history just to kind of see, like, hey, maybe I'm a part dragon or something along those lines. Well, turns out that it was something a little less fun. Was well, that was my grandmother, and she is a hag, in the literal sense, actually, not just old bitter woman. So yeah, got a little bit of that chaos in the blood. Questions?
So many. It sounds like she's going to have something for you to do. You will receive word shortly.
Yeah, that doesn't bode well.
Do you have a
From
choice in the matter?
from what little I know about hag magic, no, I don't. See, they like to spread their bloodline around simply because there's some magical compulsion in the blood. Like, I've heard of some people resisting, but it's insanely difficult, to say the least.
Do you know what's expected of you?
Uh, if it's a hag, it's nothing good. They're pure and utter evil. They tend to, lead bands of chaos in places. So, being on the frontier, yeah, I'm a little worried right now.
Wait, you said that they lead bands of chaos?
Yeah, they can act as impromptu warlords.
So, forgive me if I'm a little confused, but why would you accept a mission to fight against chaos if you knew that your own bloodline could call you to this? What?
Well, I was kind
How
of hoping not to have to deal with it. I mean, I kind of try to stay far away from hags or, suspected of where they might be.
Well, if you try to stay away from hags and where you suspect they might be, and you know they lead bands of chaos, why would you come to where we know there's chaos?
Well,
At that point,
there's only 100 of them in the world at any one time.
There's a knock on the door, and what was his fucking name? Athras. He walks in. Yeah, I got it actually. Yeah, Athras walks in. He's wearing some clothes and he's got a bandage on. He's sort of changed and cleaned up. And he says, "Hey, you." And then he realizes he's interrupted something. He says, "Sorry. Can I talk to you for a second?"
Before I answer, Ellashan had assumed he was a druid because of the shape-shifting, but she just witnessed a hag shapeshift in front of her. Can I do some sort of insight,
Yeah, sure,
like
sure.
Arcana or some
Yeah, I'll
type
say
of thing?
Arcana.
Arcana? Okay, to see if he's druidic or haggish. That would be 17.
All right. She transformed with like a transfiguration spell. He transformed like a druid transformed. Like she exploded into a new form, whereas his form became the new form, sort of thing. If you know what I mean.
Okay,
Like
so
he's 100% a druid.
Okay, he shifted in a way that was familiar
Natural.
to him. Ah, haha. Okay, good. Sure. What can we help you with?
And he says, "No, just you," to Ellashan. Walk with me.
Are you sure you're all right?
I'll be fine.
So you go over there?
I'll holler if I need help.
And he'll sort of smile, but it's kind of a distant smile. And he says, "Don't worry, I don't bite."
Not in this form, at least.
Yeah. And he sort of, you can tell he didn't really hear what you said, but knew that it was meant to be a joke, sort of thing. But he'll leave and start walking.
I'll go with him.
And so you start walking around, and he's just like walking in a slow circle around the courtyard. He's still sort of clutching his bandage side. And he says, "Look, I don't think you fully understand what you did in there. I mean, you saved your friend. That's true. That's fair enough. But you also saved me. See, if you hadn't been there, he would have had us both." So you banished him from me as well. I'm well, you've seen I'm a druid, but I'm part of this tribe. We're called the Allfanger tribe, and I'll sort of write it down for you guys. We're well, you're born into it, and I mean, there's a whole system, but look, and he reaches into a pocket and pulls out this golden acorn, and it's glowing, and it's got this really sort of calming, soothing light, and he holds it and he kind of squeezes it and he says, "Look, this, it's called an airstone. Our tribe sort of, well, when you're born, your essence, sort of your soul, I don't really understand it. It gets put in one of these, and you're meant to give it to someone. Now, you're not supposed to give it to people who aren't in the tribe unless you owe someone a great debt." And he sort of gives you a look like, I'm sure you can sort of see where this is going. And he says, "What you did, no one else could ever have done for me. So I need you to take it." And he hands it to you, or tries to.
Ellashan would like take it from
And
him.
he presses it into your hand and closes your fist around it, and he says, "Just so you understand, this is like me giving you a bit of my soul. The reason that the reason we care so much about these is because of the power it gives you. See, if you have one, because I owe you, you just say my name into it, and whatever I'm doing, wherever I am, I'll appear." And he sort of chuckles and he says, "So, no matter what kind of state you're in, place you are, I'll always be able to come and help you and maybe repay my debt. But I need you to understand that me giving you this is something I can't do for anyone else. Like you couldn't do what you did for me for anyone else." And he just sort of stares at you.
I think I understand. There's only so much of your essence that you can put in one of these things.
Well, I can never do it again. Which, I mean, also has, other things like I can never marry and that sort of thing, but that's not a big deal. Look, don't worry about it. The reason I'm giving it to you is because of what you did for me, and hopefully, if you ever need it, I can help you too. So, you come across that thing again, or you come across something you can't defeat, I'll be there. And he sort of starts kind of stepping backwards and begins heading off. Is there anything you'd like to say before he goes?
Yeah, she'll kind of step after him, like, "Well, where are you going? You
Well,
have to leave?"
I mean, I haven't been home in a couple of weeks. They're probably pretty worried about me, but I mean, it's only a few hours travel. I can I can come back whenever, but you know, I should probably go see my parents.
Oh, okay. Well, come back any time.
He nods and he says, "Just might," and then he heads off. And as you watch him sort of run, he changes into a wolf and just sprints out the door, leaving you kind of standing in the middle.
Yeah. Stunned silence, clutching an acorn
Yeah.
to her chest, and then another glowing artifact next to her necklace, perhaps.
Yeah.
And kind of watch in kind of stunned silence before heading back to the blissful mistress, the thoughtful look on her face.
So because Dylan needs to go any moment, I'm sure we'll finish up with this last thing as everyone's climbing into bed. And by the way, Rose, we'll figure out what you had in store for Cream next session. But Arden,
Yep.
you go to bed. You stay awake for a while thinking about the encounter you just had, but eventually sleep takes you. You see yourself surrounded by 100 hideous, ugly hags, and they are just hurling spells at you and clawing at you and whipping you, and you're just tied down to a sort of table, and you're just being beaten and tortured. And then your grandmother walks forward. She grabs you by the ears and pulls your face close to hers and says, "Here's your task." And your vision sort of dissipates, and you just see a golden acorn spinning, sort of in just blackness in your dream, and you just hear your grandmother saying, "Bring us one. We have plans for them." And that's where we'll end tonight.